my Chunkman account. It's not following traditional Chunkman rules, but I made a spreadsheet with a bunch of tasks so we can unlock chunks in order to unlock all the landmass chunks of Gielinor. Last episode that culminated in completing 5 quests and 2 diaries, bumping our chunk total to 419 now. The actual chunks we unlocked were mostly islands, and most notably we unlocked 2 parts of the Great Conch, which is a great start if we could actually unlock the Pandemonium quest in the near future. We are going to start this episode with the Watchtower quest, as we now have every chunk necessary to complete the quest. We've talked to one of the mages here, and the Watchtower is designed to keep out the ogres from the Feldips, so Yenil is safe. The Watchtower is doing this with 4 crystals, but apparently they were stolen, so we need to find some clues as what happened. Outside we found some fingernails in the bushes, and it seems like they are from Scavids. Scavids are the underlings of the ogres, and they live in the caves just south of here. But without a map it's impossible to navigate them, so we will need to check if the ogres themselves have a map. While looking for entry to the city of Guttenot, we first of all had a chat with all of the ogres outside of the city, and there are some rivalries between them, and we got some of the items here, which are 3 relic parts, and more importantly we got one of the crystals back. Now to get into the city we need to unlock the chunk we unlocked 2 episodes ago. So let's unlock the Guttenot chunk. And normally we would be stopped at the city gate, but because we have found the ogre relic, the ogre guards will let us through. Talking to another city guard a bit further on in the city, we have gotten a Scavid map. So let's see what we can find in there. After learning the language of the Scavids, we got another one of the crystals back, and the last Scavid says that the other 2 are with the ogre shamans. The strange rock in the cave in Guttenot, it contains a crystal, but we cannot actually mine it, and for that we got a very specific magic potion, because all of the ogre shamans seem to be connected to this rock here. That's all of the shamans down, and we get a crystal from the last shaman, so the 4th one and the last one is inside this rock of Dalgrad. So let's mine it and then bring them back to the Watchtower mages. And with the crystals returned to their rightful place on these pillars, that is the end of the Watchtower quest. We get 4 quest points, 15,250 magic experience, 5,000 coins, and the most important thing of all, we get the Watchtower teleport spell. So if we read this one, we can now finally use the Watchtower spell and the Yenil spell as well, which is going to be super useful because this is a very difficult place to get if you don't have the teleport here. With the quest completed, that means that we have also completed a chunk task. So let's go back and complete it on our dashboard, and then let's pick another chunk. Another quest completed. Watchtower has been completed. 138 quests now completed for our 420th landmass chunk. And then back to the map we go. Last episode we unlocked quite a bit of the islands that are now accessible. So for example, we got a part here of the Kurt Archipelago, 2 pieces of the Great Conch. We also got the Chinchompa Island, which now gives us access to 2 chunks of the Zea continent. And we also got a small island here next to Terranwin. So we are unlocking quite a few islands. The role we are going to do right now is probably also going to unlock another island, so let's see which one we are going to get. Let's pick a chunk. And it seems like we get another piece of the Kurt Archipelago with another one now unlockable. So yeah, I think for the next coming episodes, we don't really need to expect anything more than some random islands, but as long as we have not unlocked the shipyard, it's all a bit moot. So I'm really hoping we get closer to this one this episode. There was a specific reason why I chose the watchtower to complete right about now, and that is because now that we have the teleport here to the watchtower, if we use it, that is actually a hard task in the Ardoin area. We have not done any of the RD achievement diaries yet, but because we have done Biohazard 2 episodes ago, and this episode we've done Watchtower, we can pretty much do everything until the Elite one. The Elite one we still are missing some levels, but that's 3 diaries that we'll be able to do, which means 3 chunks, so that's very worth it to do right about now. So let's rapid fire all of the tasks here. For the easy tier, we need to get into the combat training camp north of Ardoin, which we unlocked with Biohazard. We need to sell a piece of silk at 60 coins to the silk merchant in Ardoin. Usually the accounts at the very start do this, but we need to steal a cake from the baker stall. There we go. Then we need to check which pets we have insured with Probita. And I seem to have lost my pet Kraken, so I will be reclaiming that one. Only 3 pets on the account, but let's just drop the pet Kraken so he can follow us. But that's another easy task completed. We need to check the wares of Alec in Yanil for another easy task. And then at the fishing trawler we can give the Tyndall merchant a rusty sword and 100 coins. And we have completed all of the easy tasks in the Ardoin area. For the medium diary, we need to harvest some strawberries north of Ardoin. We can use the fairy rings to get to the unicorn pen in the Ardoin Zoo for another medium task completed. We can catch some fish on the fishing platform for another medium task. In the southwest corner of the Tower of Life, we can fight a sword chick for another medium task completed. If we use the grapple shortcut south of Yanil, that is another task completed. Pickpocket a master farmer north of Ardoin for another task. We can upgrade our Iban staff with the Dark Mage in West Ardoin for 200k. And that is another task. And now for the most annoying one, for which we need all of these logs, we need to go to Entrana. We have unlocked the route to Castle Wars, but that's not the actual task. We need to actually get to Castle Wars in one go, so let's just fly back to Entrana and then just get back with the last log for the last medium task in the Ardoin area. Only the hard tier left to go. For the hard diary, we can smith a plate body, a mid-plate body for our first task completion. Well, after teleporting here, of course. We can then enter our house from the Yanilian house portal for another hard task completion. At the Legends Guild, we can charge our combat bracelet with the totem we've brought for another task completed. But this is not the only thing we need here actually. We need to buy a shield right half, but we don't have enough coins. Great. Jesus, this is expensive. We can picklock the chest in the RD castle for another task completed. In West Ardoin, we can smith a dragon square shield for another task completed. We can catch a red salamander at the Arania altar for another hard task completed. If we use the abyss to get to the death altar, we can make some death runes for another hard task completed. And then the last task is to pick some poison ivy berries from an ivy bush here north of the Ardoin monastery, but as you can see I just planted it, so we'll have to wait like an hour. A couple of hours later and we can check the health on our poison ivy bush. And then if we pick one, that is the last hard task completed in the Ardoin area. As a reward, we get the Ardoin cloak, something an Iron Man usually unlocks in the first week of their account, but for us it took us quite a while to get this one. This is a very useful thing because there are a couple of teleports to the monastery. Those are infinite, and then to the farm as well, which are also useful for farm runs. And then of course we got 3 antique lamps. They are all going to be put onto Herblore, so 2,500. 7,500, and this is then 15k, yes, all into Herblore. We now only need 109k more, and we get another level there. It's still quite a way to get the elite diary done here in the Ardoin area, but I'm already very happy with this cloak. This cape also has a couple of things that are very useful for the account, and one is that we get additional runes at the Orania altar. But the other one, because we have done the hard tier, we have a 10% increased chance of successfully pickpocketing within the entire Gielinor world, which is really nice. There's also some less useful things, like 150 noted pure essence, and that the drops from creature creation also drop noted now instead. It's quite useful that, but in general the pickpocketing is probably the most useful together with the teleports. But we have done 3 achievement diaries, so let's go and complete those on the dashboard and then pick 3 new chunks. 3 more diaries. The RDE was completed. That was our 18th diary for our 421st landmass chunk. Then the medium diary was also completed, our 19th and our 422nd chunk. And then the last one, Ardoin Heart, also completed. 20 out of 48 now, and 423 out of 702. And then let's have a look what chunks we are going to get. The first one is going to be, let's pick a chunk. Oh, that's an island, the Buccaneer's Haven. I'm not really sure what's in there, but I imagine it's a pretty high level we need to even dock here. But it's a landmass chunk, so that's already a very good start. Let's go for the second island we are going to unlock. Let's pick a chunk. That's a full water chunk, but we are getting closer and closer to rolling our first Dea chunk. But a water chunk is not something we are looking for. We are only interested in the landmass chunks. So let's try again. A chunk. Entire other way. And this does have a speck of land. So this is a landmass chunk. So that's 2 out of 3 that were islands. Let's see what the third is going to be. Let's a chunk. Close to the Great Conch, but not the Great Conch itself. Full water chunk again. So let's try again for the third chunk. Let's pick a chunk. Is this? No, also not a landmass chunk, but we are getting closer to the Lunar Isle, which is a very good thing. There are a lot of good things that will be unlocked there, but for now, still nothing. Let's try again. Let's pick a chunk. Ah, there we go. Another island above Rivdinus. Inisdale. I think there are some things on here for charting and such, but yeah. The other things that are useful here are, of course, the Gwynedd Glide, but that's also quite a high level. I think you need level 72 to even do this. So yeah, 3 small islands unlocked. Not bad, but we really need to unlock sailing first. Now that we finally have access to West Ardoin and have completed the medium diary for the Ardoin area, You can already see in my inventory, we have a lot of cats. I was growing them because we were pretty close to unlocking this chunk here, and I thought let's just make some cats so we can get some death runes in the future, but I kind of gave up because we weren't getting the chunk. We can actually trade them here in West Ardoin. I think it doesn't really matter, yes, and we get 200 death runes per, so let's clear up the bank because they are also taking up a lot of space. And also, if you look at one of these cats here, they are all overgrown cats because you cannot have a normal cat twice. You need to have an overgrown cat and only then you can get another kitten. So it actually took quite a while to get all of these cats, but it will definitely be worth it. And the last cat to receive 13,400 death runes. 1.5 million just in death runes, just by cashing in all of our cats. This is quite amazing. This is definitely going to help us in the future when we do some magic. And I'm happy we finally got those cats out of our bank. Now that we have no more cats, it's time to continue with the chunk unlocking. I really want to go back to Slayer because we pretty much stopped at 92, which is the level for the Araxites and the Erector boss. So I'm quite keen to get there, but we then unlocked the chunk below the Fishing Guild, so we then had a very big questing spree. What I also wanted to do is to get 250 quest points, because that would give us another block slot and that will just be useful in the long run. We currently have 245, and if we look at all of the quests we are able to do, there's still quite a lot, but they all give 2 quest points each. So there's no other way than to do 3 quests, and the first one we are going to do is probably the most annoying one, and that is one small favor. We now have everything we need because we were missing the chunk below the Fishing Guild. So let's go to Shaolu Village and see what we need to do. We start a small favor chain at Yanni, and he just needs some hardwood to remake one of his bookcases here. The Jungle Forester, who is in charge of getting that hardwood, wants to give us the hardwood, but her axe needs sharpening, so we need to do that first. To sharpen the axe, we asked Brian at Port Sarim, and he wants Aggie to be a character witness for one of his friends in order for him to sharpen the axe. Aggie, on the other hand, wants us to check up on one of her friends, Jimmy, just to make sure that he's alright. Jimmy is taken captive by the Ham members, and in order for us to free him, we need to secure some chickens for the Ham members. Fred the farmer does not have the month's supply of chickens though, so we need to visit his neighbor. That Groot does have the chickens, but he does not have the cages to actually put the chickens into to transport them. So we need to go to Horvik at Varrock. Horvik is sick though, he cannot make the cages, so we need to get him some medicine first. While we did get the herbal tincture from the apothecary in Varrock, he dropped his pot with the smelling salts, so we need to make him a new pot. Tessie here in the barbarian village has bought this pottery store, but she did that with credit of a dwarf, and she does not want to make us the pot until we sort that out. The loan shark will forgive the loan if we make him an apprentice for the druids. Sandview doesn't mind having a dwarf as an initiate, but he also wants a couple of favors, not just one. He wants us to give a gnome some tea, and on the other hand, we need to talk to the gnome glider pilot to arrange him a trip to the Feldip Hills so he can spread the word of Gutex to the ogres. After giving the tea to Captain Bleemage, he says he doesn't mind bringing Sandview to the ogres in the Feldip Hills, but as they are quite heavy for these paper gliders, he would need some strengthening to actually be able to carry them. Arheim wants to give us what we need, but he wants to know the forecast, the weather forecast, to make sure that one of his ships isn't going to sail into a storm. The seer is currently a bit too occupied to forecast the weather because there is a girl that went missing, so we have to find her for him. And now we come to the reason why we couldn't do this quest. I'll just for a second close this chunk again. You can see the cave entrance here. Well, if you want to get in, you need to go to this very corner of the chunk. Otherwise, you cannot get into this cave, which is quite annoying, but now that we have unlocked it, it's all okay. So we can just finish this quest. Not really sure how this happened, but it appears she is stuck in the wall. So we'll have to find a way to get her out, and it seems like she has a message ready for us that we need to visit Wizard Cromperty in East Ardoyne. Wizard Cromperty says that this happens quite often, and it is because people are teleporting around and suddenly they got stuck inside a wall because they just had the coordinates a little bit wrong. He does not have the iron oxide, he needs to get her out though, so we'll have to visit the Tyndall merchant in Port Khazard. The Tyndall merchant does not want to give us the iron oxide. He wants us to refill his mattress with some nice feathers from the chompies, so let's go to Rance. Rance seems to have a problem with a gnome a little bit further and a gnome glider. So we need to take care of that problem first. The gnome has some issues with the landing site. The lights just aren't working. There we go. That should be done. Yep. Seems to work perfectly. So it seems like we have gotten to the end of our journey. We finally have done the last small favor. So now we just need to return to all of the other people. As Rance is now free of the gnomes as they are finished with their work, we get a comfy mattress. The Tyndall merchant gets his mattress for some iron oxide. The wizard gets the iron oxide to finish the animate rock scroll. We can then use the spell to free Petra, or miss a little bit and awaken a Slagolith. Let's try that again. And that's Petra freed. The seer can't really tell the weather because their weather vane is still broken, so Petra wasn't the only thing we needed to free. After some smithing, that is the weather vane completely fixed. And with that, we got the weather report. We gave that weather report to Arheim, and now the gnome has what he needs to carry the druid. With the gear now given to the gnome, we are now able to go to the ogres ourselves through the glider system, so that's a very nice perk. But more importantly, we can say to Sanfu that he can actually get there as well. And with that, the dwarf can now become an initiate. The loan shark didn't really want to become an initiate druid, so let's convince him in another way by just killing his underlings. And with that, the loan is forgiven, but if we would have done this just sooner, this would have been a much shorter quest. With the loan forgiven, Tassie has given us the knowledge on how to make a pot lid, so we now have an airtight pot. The apothecary can now give us some of the salts that are necessary for Horvik. We then gave those medicine to Horvik to get him healed so he could change the pigeon cages into chicken cages. With those pigeon cages given to Seth, the ham member can now come and collect their chicken. With that chicken deal, Jimmy is now free to go back to the witch in Drainer Village. With Jimmy freed, she'll be a character witness for Brian. Brian then gives us back a sharpened axe, which we can then finally trade into the red mahogany log we needed for our first request, and give that to Yanni. And that finally finishes the one small favor quest. We get 2 of the quest points we need. I'm not really sure why it still says 245 because we should now be at 247. But we also get 2 antique lamps, a steel keyring, which is going to be really useful to clean up our bank of all the random keys we have. And of course we have access to the Veldip Hills glider together with the special tea that we have made for the glider pilot. Wait, why does this still say we have 245? Let's maybe use the lamps first. Maybe we need to use them before we get the quest points. So we put them on Herblore, of course, so that is 10,000 Herblore experience and another 10,000 Herblore experience. Still 88k left for a level up. But does that now give us the quest points? No, why not? Like the entire purpose of doing this quest was to get the quest points. Let me maybe log out and log back in. Ah, yes, now it updated. Okay, great. I was about to get as angry as our character because we had to do all of those favors and we wouldn't even get what we were actually looking for. But 247 quest points. Only 3 to go. As we have done one small favor, we can now do the follow-up quest Swan Song. And we are here at the Piscatoris fishing colony, but it is under attack by sea trolls, as they want to get all of the monkfish themselves. And we offered our help, but they want a more experienced adventurer. And that's why we need to go talk to the wise old man in Drainer village, as he was once a great adventurer. With the wise old man on board, let's kill the first couple of sea trolls. After the first wave of sea trolls, it's time for the wise old man and Herman to just figure out what they need to do. And we're pretty much not necessary anymore, so we're just going to go around town to see if anybody needs our help. After doing some odd jobs, the wise old man and Herman have come up with a plan. And it is pretty much that we need to kill all of the sea trolls all at once in one go, but the only problem is that we don't really have an army. So the wise old man thought of a plan, and in Yanil, in the Wizards Guild, in the basement they have some zombies. And the wizards can't control those zombies, and the wise old man just wants us to lend some of those. The wizard isn't really too keen on giving us some zombies, as he would pretty much have to lend out armies to everyone, but he did give us an alternative with a necromancer. With our skeletal army, it is time to fight! Let's pop the lid! And there they are. All skeleton mages. And there are our enemies, the sea trolls. The trolls are dead, but it seems like there's something else coming. A sea troll general. And the wise old man just took care of it for us. But there's the queen as well. And that wasn't that hard. And with that, this is the end of Swan Song. We are awarded with 2 quest points, and now it does tally up on the total quest points immediately. So must have been a bug on the previous one. That puts us up to 249. We need 1 more for an extra block slot, so 1 more quest to go. And for the rest, we got 50,000 fishing experience, 15,000 magic experience, 10,000 prayer experience, 25,000 coins, and access to the Piscatoris fishing colony, which is the only place where we can catch some monk fish. This was a shorter quest than I remembered it to be, but we have completed it. There's also not really a follow-up quest to this one, so not really a part of some kind of storyline, but a really nice one to get rid of, because there is a hard clue step as well over here, and there might be an elite one, but I forgot where that one was. So in general, good thing to get out of the way, and because we completed a quest, that's also a task completed, so we can then also unlock another chunk. Before we go and complete all of the tasks on our dashboard and get the new chunks, let's get the last quest out of the way as well. We still have a couple of them left, but I decided to go for the Great Brain Robbery, as we have unlocked the island here, the Harmony Island, quite a bit ago, and I was just putting it off to doing this quest, so might as well do it now. This is quite a conundrum though, as some zombie pirates have landed on this island, and these monks, the Saradominist monks, they were attacked, their brains were put into a zombie by someone named Migor, so we'll have to find out what actually is happening here. We had a little peep through the hole here to view what is happening inside of the church, and it appears they are doing some kind of experiment, and it's all for Rabbit Jack. The name is familiar, but we don't really know who the guy is. Migor the surgeon does say that they are going to do some live experiments, but for that they want to have some kind of sleeping gas so the patients won't retaliate. As all of the monks are zombies, an anti-poison potion wouldn't work, as pretty much it would take too long for their bodies to digest it. So we went to get a prayer book from Edgeville Monastery, and with a blessed symbol here, a holy symbol, we can actually make sure that the entire granary is not engulfed with the sleeping poison. Now that the monks are pretty safe, they want to get their brains inside their own bodies instead of a zombie. And that's why we have come to Dr. Frankenstein, because who better to do brain surgery than Dr. Frankenstein? There is a bit of a problem though. He is pretty much trapped by all of the werewolves in this area. So we need to find a way to actually get him to the island. We have struck a deal with Rufus, the meat seller in Canifis, and he is willing to ship our cargo. But as the werewolves are pretty good at smelling things, we need to make sure that there is some kind of meat in there, and that's why we have these wooden cats. We will fill up the crate with wooden cats, and then we will put Dr. Frankenstein in as well. So it will seem like there are a lot of cats in there, but it's actually wooden cats together with Dr. Frankenstein. Now that the doctor has finally arrived at the Harmony Island, it's time for him to start his operations, but he needs a couple of things. Those items are inside of the church, but they have barred everything up, so let's just use some of the gunpowder they have, and let's just blow the door off its hinges. With all of the supplies stolen from all of the sore bones in the church, as they pretty much did some surgery there as well, all of the monks are back to their normal brains and bodies, although Dr. Frankenstein has some dubious methods of doing things, but everything seems to be fine. The only thing that's left is to make sure that the zombie pirates get off of this island. And for that we need to go and kill the surgeon Migor. Well, it seems like he has a bodyguard though. A pretty big one. Not all that crazy though to kill him, but Migor did get away. We did get the battle chest anchor as a reward, but it seems like all of the zombie pirates are now out of the island. And with the information given to the brothers, that is the end of the Great Brain Robbery. We get 2 quest points, 6,000 prayer experience, 3,000 crafting experience, 2,000 construction experience, the battle chest anchor that we still need to fix, a blessed lamp, and the prayer book that I have already banked. And that one can pretty much get rid of poison or venom, which is kind of interesting. That now also puts our total quest points to 251, which is pretty much why we were here. 250 for the extra block slot. So after we go and complete all of the tasks on our dashboard and pick new chunks, we are going to go back to some Slayer. This is the last quest in the pirate storyline. There has not been a new quest added in quite a while, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing how this plays out. So maybe in 2026 or 2027 they finally decide to add another quest here. There's definitely enough possibilities with the sailing skill, so I'm really hoping they add something to it. But for now, this is the end of the quest and the end of our journey. Let's just use the blessed lamp on Herblore, and we got another 5000 experience that way. Now it's time to actually go and finish the quests on our dashboard, and let's see the 3 new chunks. First off, we completed one small favor for our 139th quest. Then we completed Swan Song for our 140th quest. And then the one we just did, the Great Brain Robbery, has been completed for our 141st quest. And I was thinking about when this color would change, and it's apparently now. We have done more than 75% of all of the quests, which means these are now in green. Most of the quests are on the mainland anyway, so that's pretty much the reason why we're already that high up. If we unlock Varlamore, Zaya, and all of the islands, the amount of quests we'll do are a lot less, but it's nice to see that we have gotten onto the 75% mark. We're now also at 426 total landmass chunks unlocked, and let's go and see which we are going to actually get. 3 chances to unlock something, so let's see what kind of island we are going to get. Let's pick a chunk. First island is Port Roberts, which is actually a quite good one. If we get the Sailor's Amulet, we can pretty much just teleport here, which is a very interesting first chunk. Then let's go and see what is going to be the second chunk we are going to get. A chunk? The one next to it, okay. That is a water chunk though, so we're going to have to reroll that one. A chunk? Another water chunk? Yeah, it's still a lot of water chunks left, so let's try that again. A chunk? Oh, the entire other way, and it is a landmass chunk. Another part of the Cursed Archipelago. Not the most useful chunk to unlock, but I guess it is what it is. I would have rather had another part of the Great Conch, but okay. That's now 2 landmass chunks unlocked. Let's see what the third one is going to be. Let's pick a chunk. Oh. I was thinking about, oh, this is going to be a good one because this is part of all of the Fremenic Islands, but it's just some ice above, etc. Which is kind of interesting. We're also like getting closer to the iceberg, which is good, as we can then do the Cold War quest. But for now, yeah, this doesn't really do much. And all 3 chunks pretty much don't do that much because, yeah, there's a lot of things that were added with sailing, and I think for the next like 20-30 chunks, I don't think we'll see anything that is going to be immediately good for the account. And that's it for today. Next episode we go and do some boss slayer, so tune in next time to see that, and for the rest, have a great day.